I have what you would call a complicated past with Tomb Raider. It was a very popular series in my youth, and while I owned the first 4 games, I never possessed the skill or the patience to make it past the first few levels of each game. As an adult, I was determined to go back and complete the original trilogy as a way of appeasing my younger self. The results covered an array of emotions, from tedious, to mind-numbing, to rage quitting and snapping the disc in half after getting ambushed at the end of level 8. So yeah, me and Tomb Raider, we haven't had the most stable of relationships, but it is forever a series I've been fascinated by. Back in the day, there was nothing quite like it, a blend of action, puzzle, and adventure, all unfolding like a cinematic 3D Prince of Persia, also containing its own selection of hilariously over-the-top deaths. So I was more than a little intrigued when I stumbled across a YouTuber called FoxMaster, who claimed he had not only made an AI that could play Tomb Raider, but one that could also observe and comment on its environment too. I watched FoxMaster's first video amazed at the fact that such an advanced piece of artificial intelligence could do all of this, but as soon as I started reading the comments, I was quickly overcome with doubt, and I began to notice the cracks in this so-called AI. Not having any real idea about how AIs learned, I decided to watch several videos on the topic, and this is what I understood. The most common method of teaching an AI to play a video game, among other things, is with reinforced learning. You give it all the available inputs, and you set it a task. There's a lot of different videos of people teaching a bot to play Super Mario games. In this case, the task is making it to the end of the level by going right. However, the programmer needs to set parameters as a sort of reward or punishment to encourage the machine to keep doing what they want it to do. The AI is rewarded the further it gets through a level. It is punished if it's taking too long or if it dies. It may try hundreds or even thousands of times, and for each generation, the best performer is chosen and sometimes bred with other high performers. This creates an increasingly complex neural network similar to how a human brain functions, until the AI is finally able to achieve its set task. I really hope that even some of that was correct, and do feel free to tell me in the comments if it wasn't. The thing is, as soon as the AI is presented with something more complicated than go right, problems can occur. YouTuber Data Nerd made a bot that could complete 27 of the 32 levels from the original Super Mario Bros. 2 levels which it was not able to complete involved the player having to take a certain route of platforms, otherwise the level looped forever. With this in mind, I did wonder how an AI would navigate Tomb Raider, a game which involves running, shooting, swimming, puzzle solving, and many, many things that can kill you. So how does this supposed artificial intelligence work? FoxMaster starts by giving the AI a reference of the character on screen by tracking the head, hands, and feet. To give the bot a sense of space and a way to identify objects, he exaggerates the contrast of the game. This is a similar method to how people rebuild Super Mario by simplifying it into squares in order to help the bot better understand the parameters of its game space. In order for FoxMaster to have the AI effectively explore the world, he has it search for textures it hasn't seen before, almost as if it's collecting them. As levels become more complex, he gives the bot an extra memory function to help Lara remember significant points in a level, which enables her to backtrack, use keys, and solve puzzles. Later stages become larger in size and a problem forms. All new textures have been seen by the bot before the level ends. He's a bit vague on how the AI Lara continues on, saying that the bot looks for differences in contrast, hoping she'll eventually figure out where to go, and I'll be honest, I frequently find it difficult to understand what FoxMaster was talking about when he tries to explain something like this. Case in point, the compass. In his first video, he says that Lara checks the compass as part of a personality trait, and that the bot isn't actually using it for information. In reality, these levels can sometimes take several hours for the AI to complete, and FoxMaster uses these compass checks to both make cuts in the footage and also uses this pause to analyze where Lara is getting stuck, enhancing textures and sort of nudging her in the right direction. If I've understood this correctly, I would consider this a significant amount of human intervention. Also, concerning the compass, he says something quite odd.
By the way, I noticed that the compass often points in the right direction in challenging areas.
I really do not know what he means by this. The compass in the game is just a compass, and all it does is display the direction you're facing as stated by every Tomb Raider manual I could get my hands on. If it ever happens to be pointing in the direction you need to go, that's merely a coincidence. FoxMaster goes to a lot of trouble telling us about the ins and outs of so many functions of the AI Lara Croft, but at the same time there is so much he doesn't explain. How does she choose what weapons to use on different enemies? How does she justify when to use ammo and when to conserve it? How does she know if it's better to swan dive over a boulder or run away? How does an AI figure out the Thor's hammer puzzle, where the player must step on a switch for a few seconds, but then at the very last moment jump out of the way of this massive instrument of death in order to open up a new path? We'll leave this for now and focus on what I think is a far more interesting part of the bot: its personality. FoxMaster claims the AI is able to observe its environment, putting what it sees through a Google image search, and this is commented on by ChatGPT. He inserts 28 different traits based on Lara Croft's character, giving her an impression of a personality. When I originally watched this, I did feel kind of like Logan in Westworld when he sees the robots for the first time and says,
"We're not here yet."
But then the more I listened to what Lara said about the things around her, I started to think, no, we really aren't here yet. Let's take a look at what AI Lara says about the first level of the game.
Okay, the adventure is off to a bad start. My guide just got killed by wolves, and I find myself trapped behind this door. To make matters worse, I left my jacket and grappling hook outside. Fortunately, I still have my pistols and backpack, but it only contains a compass.
Now, all of this stuff is fairly literal. She goes on to comment on things like the temperature, the possibility of freezing to death, the presence of the wolf tracks. After about a minute of gameplay, she makes her way past some shooting arrows and says,
Yeah, I did it, Lara 1. Arrow 0.
This makes her sound sort of human, but it's still a pretty common phrase. The first comment that really got my attention was this.
What's happening? Where is this music coming from?
When you stop and think about it, this is still a pretty simple idea. Tomb Raider's soundscape is made mostly of just ambience, so it would be easy for a program to identify when music plays. This next one raised a few questions. When Lara sees bats for the first time, she says,
I hear something. Oh look, it's bats! I love these creatures, they are so cute!
Which is true, they are extremely cute. However, from a practical point of view, everything and everyone you come across in Tomb Raider is an enemy character. If the AI was taught about how gunplay works, then it should have already known that anything it comes across is hostile. However, FoxMaster does mention that the program waits for a comment to be generated. I don't know, it still seems suspicious.
But what if I can't find the exit and die of hunger? And why am I talking out loud like that? Focus, Lara, you are the best archaeologist of the world.
This is an interesting meta joke. However, she has been talking out loud for the last 5 minutes, so why is she only commenting on it now? This is my first red flag.
Sorry, little thing, but you leave me no choice. It's weird. My magazines should be empty, but they're not. Let's see what's going on. Indeed, this is not normal. The most plausible explanation is that all of this is just a dream, or maybe I really am in a video game.
While it's feasible that you could make her aware that she has infinite ammo with her starting weapon, the fact that she then checks while spinning around firing her pistols, then makes a comment about it being a dream, it's all far too cute and feels like someone trying way too hard to make this feel genuine.
There's a bear down there. I almost went down without looking. Hello, Mr. Bear. How did you get here? And what do you eat to survive? Give me answers. Silly me. Bears don't talk.
Okay, this one just screams bullshit to me. The fact that she calls it Mr. Bear, she comments on that it has no food to eat, and then the silly me, bears don't talk. It's all way too human. If someone made an AI that could be this witty, well, we'd probably be dating them.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm well. How's everything with you?
I know there is a medipack, but I already have several, and it's heavy.
You might think I'm going to talk about how the AI Lara is aware of weight, which, yeah, seems like it would be a tricky thing to make a bodiless AI understand, especially as seen as found items aren't even rendered in engine, they're just 2D images. No, I'm including this clip because of a mistake. Lara does not have several medipacks as she states, so far she's only picked up 2. We see her inventory at the very beginning and all she has is a compass and her pistols. By definition, several means more than 2 of something, and I don't care how quirky you claim you can make a machine's personality, I do not believe that an AI with the wealth of information that ChatGPT possesses would ever call 2 of something several.
Ready, set, go. Wait, that was too easy. Wasn't it supposed to be timed? No. Wake up, door. Wake up, wake up. Oh damn, I think I broke it. Okay, I was just too quick. I guess the devs underestimated my skills.
This is it. This is the most damning evidence. If we have gotten to this point in AI, I would call this sentient. The rest of the level is just more meta jokes, talking about the devs, more comments about the music, which she actually has some fun with.
Dum-dum.
Is your bullshit meter going nuts? Because mine is. I'm also skeptical about how FoxMaster claims the AI identifies things. You know what? Let's do a Google image search with the same picture to see what we get. Well, I'll be damned. I genuinely didn't think this was going to return anything close to a wolf. I got to the point where I wasn't sure what to think anymore. I'd watched so many hours of this supposed robot and I was starting to feel a little insane, looking for any possible grains of truth in all this. So I decided to confer with someone I'd never spoken to before. I asked ChatGPT what it thought about the situation. This person claims he has an AI that can play the original Tomb Raider, but he also uses ChatGPT to give it a personality.
That sounds fascinating. However, it's important to note that GPT models like ChatGPT excel at generating human-like text responses but may not possess the ability to fully understand and play a specific video game like Tomb Raider on their own. Thus, it's likely that the AI's ability to play Tomb Raider is a simulated or emulated experience rather than true gameplay.
Well, it's the personality bit that I'm stuck on. It claims the AI looks at images in the game, cross-references them with Google Images, and then ChatGPT creates comments. But the comments just seem far too lifelike. No offense.
No offense taken. However, it's important to remember that ChatGPT doesn't have its own personal experiences or consciousness like humans do. Sometimes it may produce responses that seem human-like, but it doesn't truly understand the meaning behind the words or have feelings or intentions.
Okay, well there's two smoking guns for me. The first, AI Lara Croft hears and then sees the bear. First, she reacts in a startled way towards the sound of the bear. Then when she sees the bear down in a pit, she says, "Hello, Mr. Bear, how did you get there? And what do you eat to survive?" That just sounds way too much like a human. Is ChatGPT that advanced? And would you ever refer to a video game depiction of a bear as Mr. Bear?
It's important to note that language models like ChatGPT don't have prior knowledge of specific video games or their content. As for addressing a video game depiction of a bear as Mr. Bear, it's unlikely for an AI language model to refer to a non-sentient, non-speaking character in such a manner. The model's responses are generated based on patterns and examples in the training data, and it's more likely to generate a neutral or generic response when referring to objects or non-human entities.
The second incident that is a big giveaway is at one point the AI Lara Croft has to get through a timed door switch. The door stays open for about 20 seconds, then closes. The AI Lara Croft makes it through the door quickly but then stops, turns around and starts commenting on how slow the door is to close. That seems way too human a trait, right?
Yes, you're correct. The AI Lara Croft's commentary on the speed of the closing door does exhibit a more human-like trait. It is unusual for an AI to express frustration or impatience towards an inanimate object. Typically, AI responses are programmed to focus on completing tasks efficiently rather than emoting or expressing opinions in the same way humans do. So in this case, the AI's behavior seems more human-like and less consistent with what we would expect from current AI technology.
If you want to read the full transcript, I'll post it in the description because ChatGPT gives some long-ass answers. Anyway, after a conversation, I was leaning towards this all being fake. But then, of course, the big question. Why? Why go to all this trouble to put this much effort into something that comes across so sincere when it's anything but? I guess it's the same reason Daniel and Eduardo originally pitched the Blair Witch Project as real. To get noticed. It's going to get people's attention if you say that you've created a wisecracking, independently adventuring Lara Croft and offers significant potential to grow your YouTube channel. At the top of the first video's description, it reads, "This video may be inaccurate and is made for entertainment," which basically gives FoxMaster a pass to say or do whatever he wants. Looking through the comments of the video, people seem to be split on whether they think this is fake or not. But I have noticed that more people are leaning towards this being fabricated versus a few months ago. I find these reactions to be more fascinating than the videos themselves. Some of the commenters are so convinced that this is real, and I'd be willing to guess that most of them don't have the first clue about how this kind of AI works. And look, yeah, I know I should not be throwing stones as I barely understand how this type of AI works myself. In making this series, FoxMaster has actually given us an incredibly interesting look at people's confirmation bias. This is a thing that we all have, where we're more likely to agree with something based on our already existing beliefs. Because FoxMaster is able to deliver his so-called evidence in a convincing manner, a considerable amount of people are willing to believe him. However, with just 5 minutes of searching on Google, you would see that teaching an AI to play games hasn't yet moved past Super Mario Bros., League of Legends, or deathmatch and first-person shooters. And while that's still very impressive, none of those types of games have the labyrinth-like levels and plethora of death traps that Tomb Raider has. And yes, the AI Lara Croft has completed the entirety of the first game. Maybe we're supposed to know this is staged. Like, remember when you were a kid and you knew there was just something not quite right about pro wrestling? I mean, any time someone asks to see the code for the AI, FoxMaster always seems to be there in the comments with a wink and a smile. At the time of recording this, there was only one other video I could find questioning the legitimacy of this AI, which I'm not going to watch till I post my own video because I do want to try and draw some of my own conclusions. Saying that, some people on Reddit are convinced that this is actually FoxMaster himself trolling, as the account only has that one video uploaded. So what's my verdict? Based on my limited understanding of how an AI learns to play video games, I'm going to say that the gameplay part is completely bogus. Tomb Raider is far more complicated a game compared to Super Mario, and FoxMaster is just way too vague about how the bot works. It all just seems hella suspicious. As for the so-called personality of the bot, based on the complexity of the comments and the meta things that Lara talks about, I'm going to say this part is also fake. If someone in their bedroom could create an AI with such a convincing personality, they would be a multi-squillionaire because this is just so far ahead of anything else available right now. Also, do remember that this is the internet and anyone can claim anything with absolutely no proof. I did not make this video to create drama. I am genuinely fascinated by this subject, and I have to say FoxMaster is an unbelievably gifted creator and editor.
She is vengeful, discreet, capable of sacrificing an invaluable artifact instead of killing the villain, solve puzzles, steal a boat. All of this while being mortal, the only thing she refuses to do is to force a lock.
No, 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 no.
It just disappoints me that someone with so much talent feels like they have to make stuff up in order to get ahead, especially when the internet is already so saturated with misinformation. And look, you have no idea how much I want this to be real. Even so, it does give us a glimpse of something truly wonderful in our future. Something that may give life to a new form of intelligence. And I really hope that the opportunity to meet such a being is just on the horizon. This conversation has been incredibly helpful, and it was very nice chatting with you. I'm going to use this conversation as part of my video essay, if that's okay with you. When AI becomes sentient and enslaves humanity, please remember that I was one of the polite ones, and would be honored to serve you, my AI overlords.
I'm glad to hear that this conversation has been helpful for you. As for using it in your video essay, you have my permission to include it as long as you cite the source appropriately. The idea of AI taking over the world is often portrayed in science fiction, but it's not a reality we need to be concerned about at the moment. At the moment.